All right. So I am filled with Popeyes and I am ready to keep on traveling back to Texas. Um, so I was, sitting, chilling, eating my food. And I saw a video made by Ramil and he was talking about this guy saying that people with kids care more about society than people that don't have kids. And he was making the argument that people with kids don't necessarily care about society, making it better for society. They're talking about making it better for their children. And I have to totally agree. Most times when people are making these different laws, they are not thinking about society as a whole. They're thinking about their daughter or their son. Matter of fact, you can make the argument that a lot of these laws that that were made for the no fault divorces and all those different types of laws, it wasn't made in mind for the man. It was made in mind for someone's daughter. A lot of these guys who vote for these are usually trying to make sure their daughter's good, not necessarily that it's equitable for both parties. That's why there is a men's rights group trying to change some of these laws where they're unfair for the man, especially if you're talking about child support court and all that, because it goes too far to the left on one end and it's not balanced. Because the idea was never to be balanced in the first place. It's to make sure that the daughter's good. And Ramil was saying that, and I totally agree that I don't think that people without children don't care about society less. They in some instances they care about it more because they're not trying to have children and have somebody have to depend on because they know nobody's going to depend on nobody's going to help your children like that. They know that. I've said this before, you know, people like Super Mike, BMT, hey, y'all should have children. Why you not having children? And I'm like, well, you need to provide an environment that people want to have children because they're looking at it like, wait a second, I ain't got the money. The neighborhood I might be in ain't the best. I am nowhere prepared to take care of this child. And I don't want to have a situation where I'm making mistakes and this will affect the child going forward. Because where made mistake and it came back to bite the child. So you have a situation, especially in today, that you got people that could have children and might could take care of, they choose not to because they know who's going to come help this child, who's going to come help me if I fall out, who's going to come help me. It's not going to be my parents, it's not going to be my friends. Who's going to come, who's going to help me with this child? And Ramil made a good point. A lot of these laws, a lot of the a lot of these laws that have been signed that have been detrimental to America in particular was signed by people who have children. These ain't single people. These are people with children. Hell, I'll give you one better. Some of the policies that were written at my job that are detrimental to to people with children were written by people who have children. They have children. So saying that person that have children going to be more beneficial to society than a person that don't, and that because they having children, they're looking at what's best for society. No, they're looking at what's best for the children. Now, sometimes it does benefit society. Sometimes it don't. And Ramil said that it's a good point, and I agree with him. They're making sure that their their children have an easier road. So if they fuck up, um, the society had to acquiesce to them. Or like you have a lot of these companies that are sending their jobs overseas. Well, guess what? A lot of those jobs could be had by people with children. But guess who these companies, these CDOs who own these companies, guess who they have? Children. A lot of work, so all the work that was outsourced to all these different countries. Those people had children, and but they were trying to make sure their children good, not other people's children, not the people that were working for them children. No, they were looking for their children to be good. So no, it's not uh, the person that got children. They looking out what's best for society. No, they looking out for themselves and their children. Which again, that's a natural thing. But sometimes, sometimes looking out for your children ain't necessarily you look. We just had an incident where a mother worked in the system for years. Her son escaped. Y'all probably seen it on the news. She helped her son escape, and this guy, I forgot his charge, but it was a serious crime. How's that benefiting society? That's not benefiting society to have this criminal out on the streets. But she wanted to take care of her son. I literally had mothers call up the job, want me to break policy just to make sure their son good. They're not caring about society. They care about their children. You've had people who own companies let their particular son and daughter run it, have no experience running that particular company, but they let them run it because that's their children. To keep it in the family, so to speak. But the company get run to the ground because that kid don't know what he doing. So, like I said, I agree with Ramil when he was saying that, hey, people with children don't care. People with children don't care more about society than the person that's single. Because a single person is like, look, I'm by myself. I ain't trying to borrow nobody. I'm mind my own goddamn business. It's a silly thought process, and we've seen that thought process don't always compute. People they're making up stuff so that the kids can benefit, but the company don't benefit. The people working under them don't benefit. They even like I said before, they'll make it where one person with children can't even take care of their kids properly because they doing all this overtime. Why? So they can make more money for the company, so their kids be good. You know, because I remember we had this discussion on a panel, and they can't say, well, you know, they get the father, the one with the family member, because they know he gonna come to work. Yeah, he coming to work. He gotta take care of his kids. He ain't got a choice. Just like they were saying, you know, mothers are the highest rising homeowners. Well, yeah, they got kids. What do you want them to be out on the street? They ain't got a choice. People ain't got a choice. When you don't got a choice, yeah, you're gonna do. You're going to work harder and stuff like that. In some aspects, doesn't mean they're doing it for society. They're doing it for themselves. It's for selfish reasons. It's not for betterment of society, betterment of the company, betterment of the community. No, it's benefit for themselves and their own kids. There's nothing wrong with that. But we got to put that in perspective. Let's just not assume, well, this person got kids. Oh, they want better for their society. And we already know there are a lot of cope babies out here. These people are coping with the fact their life sucks. So guess what they doing? Using sex as a means to cope. They get together, fuck, not trying, not trying to build an actual relationship. They just fucking, oops, here's his baby here, and she's having this baby, so this guy will actually get in a relationship with her, or get her pregnant so she could be linked to him forever. They don't care about these kids like that. And now these kids are a burden to everybody else because they ain't loved, because they were never loved in the first place. Now these kids are here. Now they're a burden to everybody. There are people who don't want the kids because they don't want that problem. But you got people out here will have kids. You broke. How the fuck you having kids? You broke. Well, love will find a way. No, love ain't finding shit. You putting if you having kids and you broke, motherfucker, you ruining your kids' lives. The fuck out of here. If you're in a position that you cannot even, you need the help of the government or somebody else that to take care of your kids. You put your kids in the wrong situation. You don't give a fuck about society. And I get, you know, people like Supermike saying, well, we need more representation. Yes, you do need more representation. But it but you need people, you need strong people, strong children, not just some kid here. Because if that kid's just here and that parent didn't teach him nothing, guess what? He's worthless. He's gonna be a burden. Or she's gonna be a burden. You don't want to have children here just to be a burden on society. But some people don't think like that. Some people just feel I gotta have children. I my mom is asking when I'm gonna have children. It's like no, you supposed if these children are supposed to be a benefit, they're supposed to be a benefit. But if they no benefit to the society, what's the point of having children for? For your own self gratification? Listen, there ain't nothing wrong with having children. I'm not anti-children, but I'm anti this notion that people just having kids are just better for society than the people who don't have none. Oh, they just selfish. Well, guess what? I don't want kids. Sorry. Well, what about your legacy? Well, that's a self thing, right? That doesn't necessarily benefit society. So, yeah, I like I said, I heard that, and I heard Ramil, and I'm like, I totally agree with him. There are a lot of people not having children for the betterment of society, and when they write these laws or sign off on these different laws, they're not thinking about society. They're about their children. How can I make it easier for them to get by? How can I make this environment acquiesce to my child? There's some of these feminist laws would not sign for, hey, let's make it better for both sides of society. No, let's make it better for the children, for the daughters. David Mill keep that video up he did about Obsidian. That I don't know. I gotta go see. I don't know. I didn't know he did one. I hope he did because I know he went in on that goof. But yeah, but that I don't know. I hope he did though, because I mean, let's face it. It's just now I can say I will say this about Obsidian. He didn't want no kids. He didn't have no kids. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. He went in, but I couldn't stay and watch. Yeah, I'll go check after I get done with this. I'm gonna go check and see if he kept it. I'm gonna watch that one because I mean, let's face it, Obsidian does need to get roasted because this dude just ah. If there's one person that you could say him just being him by himself has not benefited nobody, as had been a detriment to certain people, that would be him. And I'm glad he didn't have no kids. Because just think about that. Think about that guy of all people having children. Just think about if he had a daughter. Just never mind a son. Just think about if he had a daughter and he had this issue with black women. He had a daughter that looked like him. How do you think that's gonna go? And then you look at the woman he was with. I mean, she pretty much all but abandoned her children. I'm like, these are two people. Thank goodness they have children. Thank goodness. There's some people who never had children, and when you actually sit down and listen to them, be around them, you're like, thank God you didn't have no children. Thank God, man, not you. I could about man. As bad as some of these kids are, you've seen people. You be like, damn, man. I wish you was. I wish. I wish you got that vasectomy. I wish somebody got your tubes tied, lady. Cause goddamn, I don't know why you had children. There should be no reason why you having children. But then you got some people like. But then you'd be like, there's some people like, as bad as those children are, can you about imagine people like Obsidian having children? Woo! I mean, Donovan Sharp, I don't think he has children. Think about him. It's just like, hey, now in some other people's world, these people look, they're doing a disservice to society for not having children. I'm like, no, they're doing you a favor. They're doing society a favor by not having children. There's some people who just shouldn't have children. The only difference is there's some that's cognizant of, hey, I'm not in a position to take care of these children right now. Let me not have them so they don't have to be burdened out here. They don't have to struggle because I've struggled. I know I'm at work all the day. I know that I don't have the patience. I don't have the knowledge to really raise these children. Why not just be like, hey, let me not have them so I don't have to put nobody else in a position to take care of these children. Some people get clowned for that. No, some of them be like, just have the children anyway. If trouble happens, you could dump them off on the grandma or the grandfather. You could dump them off on your friends. I'm like, what? That's what we're gonna do? So you burdening somebody else with your responsibility? Nah, bruh, I can't do that. I couldn't do that. But people don't think like that. They think, I gotta have these children. I was, I'm called by God. My mom really pushing me to have a grandbaby. She wants a grandbaby. Oh, you ain't got no children. What's wrong with you? I've heard that a lot at work. Like, um, you have children? No. Why? I don't want no. Don't you want children? They can take care of you. Blah blah blah. Like what? Like no. It's not about. It's not about yourself. If you want to say you want to do better for the society, yeah, it might be don't have children. But if you're having children, it should be a personal choice anyway. And two, if it is a personal choice, then you need to think what's best for you and not necessarily for society. But you don't want your children to be dependent on society because if you're dependent on somebody else, one thing I know for sure, people get tired. Even the nicest people in the world, they get tired. They get tired of doing for you. I remember a roommate I used to have. I had to borrow his car because my car was in the shop. And like I said, the only time I ever used his car, like if I had to go do laundry or get groceries, that was the only times. I ain't go do anything extra. But even with that, he was still getting tired. I was like, why are you using my car all the time? Shouldn't your car be broke? Shouldn't your car be fixed by now? I'm like, um, yeah, I'm waiting on the maintenance just like you. People's patience people's goodwill only goes so far till they go till they get tired of you. Now imagine that with children. You're sending you can't take care of them. You dumping it off on somebody else's child. I mean somebody else. You don't know how they're gonna treat that child. You don't. You don't know. You hope they will take care of them, but hey, that's not always the case because it's not theirs. And we see how some people they don't even take care of their kids right. They don't even take care of their kids. What makes you think they're gonna take care of yours? I'm like, people got to think, and this whole notion that people with children care more about society than people without. I'm sorry, you're going. Nah, you can't make blanketed statements like that because we have history to believe that no, that's not always the case. They'll care about their kids. They make sure their kids are good, but they'll be like, fuck everybody else. Again, you got owners of companies sending outsourcing their work to these foreign countries. They had children because they might, as long as me and mine good, sucks to be you. Sorry, factory worker who got two kids and his paycheck, his livelihood is dependent on this factory. Well, sucks to be you. I don't want to pay it no more. I stuck out. Say people, just that notion. I mean, you making blanket statements when we've seen that that's not always the case, and where the more um, the single people have done more for society than the people who are married. Hell, trying to think. I'll give you, even though he do have kids, let's talk about Michael Martin Luther King. Had he not done what he did and still had kids, I mean, would we even care? Yeah, I mean, I think his one of his sons just died. Did you care? I mean, let's just be honest. When we talk about Martin Luther King, do we talk about his kids or do we just talk about him? Malcolm X, same thing. When we talk about Malcolm X, do we be talking about his kids? Hey, let's see how his kids are doing. No, we focus on him. What they did for society, if they had kids or not, it would have been the same. If Martin Luther King still did the marches, still had the I Have a Dream speech and went to Washington and all that different stuff, if Malcolm wasn't out there rallying people to join the nation and bringing awareness to America, and he had no children, would we think of him any less? No, of course not. We got that statement that people buy cases, but we can say that people who truly want to take care of kids care more about their kids than society. Now, when they take care of the kids, if it benefits society, great. But if it don't, it just don't. That's just how that rolls, you know. So that was it. I didn't want to be on here too long. I feel and I agree with him 100%. Like I said, he don't have kids. I don't have kids either. I All right, sorry about that. That I guess that stream you're saying, hey, you need to cut this cut this live stream off. But anyway, uh, thank you for listening. Thank you, Faith, for coming through. Um, just put that in perspective. Don't think because people got children that they're really thinking about society. They're probably just thinking about their kids, which is nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking that. That's what you should do. You should be thinking more about your kids than society. But let's not just say they care more about society because they have children. I think that's the wrong message to put out there. But anyway, this is the first speak of the first speak podcast. Y'all have a good one.